Welcome everyone. Hi guys, it's been a while. I actually went up to Canada to Mount Tremblant for a few days last week and just kind of been recovering, getting taxes done and some stuff outside done this week. I just really wasn't in the energy to come online for whatever reason. I actually did a lot of reads this past week and I'm probably going to go over them and see if there's some notes to bring to you. But I have 3 of my messages of the day here from today, yesterday, the day before, and then the full read for the twin flames on the table there in front of you. So we will do those today. So much energy was coming through. Driving up to Canada was beautiful. Definitely had some mountainous moments with Godspell on the way there. Just really beautiful energy. Everything worked out perfectly. Definitely doing some grid work up there and some clearing family. We're actually with some friends, my next door neighbor growing up, who's my sister's best friend. So we were with their family. So it was really a lovely time with some very high vibe people. And so I want to get right into these messages for you since it's been a while. So we have 3 messages of the day from the 29th, 30th, and 31st today. And then the 7-deck read for the twins on the table. Go ahead and take a few deep breaths while I'm talking. Okay, so there's so much stuff that I touched upon in the past week and a half. It's hard to remember just, some general energies that were coming up over the past week, but we'll get into a lot as I present these. So the first one is from the 29th, and all of these messages of the day are basically the same templating with the underlying energies to the left, 3 cards dealt, and then the cards to the right are more numerologically based, so I count them and use them for gematria sometimes, but also sometimes I use them in the read as their face value as well. So those are the cards past the 3 cards dealt. Okay, so here you see the journey of love at the top, and then we have romance angels, and then nature's whispers, and then my combined decks of Lenormand, Reverie, and the Kipper decks together. So a little closer up so you can see them. Okay, so this is our first read. And on the 29th, the 29 is the 3 of Wands, and the day added up to 39, which is the Knight of Cups. So very present and loving energy that day. And also that was while I felt like I get this poking feeling in my left back ribs once in a while. And that was coming up. It was poking me for like 3 days, and I was trying to do all different kinds of stretches to get it aligned again, which I feel fine now. But this was during that happening. And I want to bring that up too, because when you're in bed in the morning or at night before you go to sleep, it's actually better in the morning, because if you're going to do stretches, it's going to wake you up. But sometimes you're just guided to stretch a certain way. So go with it. Like whatever you're feeling, go with that feeling, because it's your body telling you which way it needs to stretch. So really feel into that in the morning to see what comes up for you. It's very helpful for me. So the 4 decks were dealt at 8:49 to 52 that day. 49 is the 9 of Cups, and then the 50 of the 10 of Cups, and then the King and Queen of Swords. I did the numbers of the cards at the end were 1112 and also 4123. And the messages coming up from those 2 sets of numbers were, I looked up gematria for 4123. It said strip the powers of law enforcement in the entire United States. And the and then the number 1112, the first entry was Bringer of the Age of Aquarius. Number 2 was Bob Joyce. Number 3 was Heart over Mind. Number 4 was Signed, Sealed, Delivered. And number 5 was March 17. That might be significant for someone specifically. And then Justice of the Hanging Man, as we do have Easter coming up here. April 1, 2, 3 was coming up with Love of the King of Wands, which that's this year, 23. And the co-creation of 2 and 4, which is also 24, the Queen of Wands, the leap to the King of Wands, the High Priestess and Emperor's leap. So the underlying energy that started at 9:01 is the Hermit and the Magician, with space between. And the 1 and 9 are the beginning and the end, right? So it's very significant there. The 62 of the Choice of finances and career, the 18 of new experiences and possibilities, and 38 of the Queen of Cups and toil and laboring. To be imprisoned or free, the choice is always yours. And that came up a lot in the reads this week. Finance is a factor in your love life right now, with the moon and gardening and color everywhere. The 62 is also significant for me. And a choice to plant now for abundance of new experiences and possibilities by quote unquote 18. So that could be like, by a significant date in your life, by your birthday in your life. And the Queen of Cups, 38, may be regarding the work that you're doing, or after the winter's prison, the flowers come spring. Work in fall, after summer expression, where there's, that the full bloom comes in and then dies out in the fall. And then at 9/11, which is an emergency perhaps, the 9 of the Hermit, the 11 of Justice and alignment, and the underlying energy of the 42 of the Blood Dance, 52 of the Ancient Ones, which is also the Queen of Swords, and from the 2 of Cups heart to receiving of light as the Queen of Swords, or Lady Liberty, and 36 of Atlas, the cosmic butterfly, and the mother's weight of the world. 69 of contemplation, or what's been received and what to offer, and then 60 of riding the cosmic wave in peace on the back of 2 swans. The 53 of the Knight of Swords and the legacy of light as Easter comes up, and 16 of the heart of the moment of love and light. The Queen of Swords and the Knight of Swords, and a sudden rush of the heart. And the 15 of the Dark Mother who prays before biting your head off, perhaps. The 62 of the 8 of Swords is, again, the choice that remains yours. The first card here is the 7 of Shifting Universe. All musical here, in the release of the Chariot and the Spiral, and the verses shift, but the chorus remains the same. The vehicle of change, the gamma ray, the boomerang, the key, and to switch direction or reflect. Where 22 is the world and she is the moon. And here all the cards had the spiral on them, all shifting in opposite directions. So it kept going back and forth in different positions, ending in the question mark. The whole, the complete, the world, which equals word plus that L or the leap inserted, boldly traveling or in a big move around the world, that she is HQ or headquarters in the 4th quarter as the 25 Knight of Wands, seat of the heart, the question mark is planted. With Cancer, Pisces, and Saggy or fire here, with the Knight of Wands and the Queen of Cups, and it was at 9:24, which is the Hermit and the Queen of Wands, or Omega, and the Pleiades is also considered 24 by some. With Cancer, Pisces, and Sag or fire, with the Knight of Wands and the Queen of Cups, the pearl threaded, and a sensual awakening here. With the 64, the 10 of Swords reversed, is when the swords drop out, and that's where the bliss comes in. The 10 of 3, 2, 1 in destined bliss, and the 46 of just for a moment joy. We're 4 out of 5, and it was really funny because in the show Atypical, he was obsessing about, I think someone said 4/5, and then he was obsessing over that. And then 4 out of 5 came up here on my read, and that was the night before that I had heard that. And this is what my guides are doing with me now. They either, they give me information about the movies I'm going to watch all the time in the reads. But again, they'll use things in the shows or movie I watched the night before to bring in messages in my reads, because I'll understand what they're talking about. So just for a moment, joy with the 4 out of 5, like the elements in the ether and like the 698 pod. So what they're talking about is like elements in ether. I always talk about that ether isn't actually the fifth element. It's the collective element of all the four. So when the four comes in, the five ether comes in right with it. And same thing like the 6-9-8 pod that I've discussed. When the 6 and the 9 come together, the 9 and 8 actually come in at the same time, because you can't have the 8 without the 9, because the 9 creates the 8 with the 6. So again, it's the cumulative, and then the representation of that whole. And it's also represented like 12 and then 13 of Ophiuchus, the 13th, which is the portal to the other side. Again, the collective of 1 through 12 is 13, the other side. The 24th pair of chromosomes as well, right? The invisible pair of chromosomes, because it's in another dimension. The 23 and 23 chromosomes that we do have, or 46, actually are 24 and 24, which are 48, or 46 plus 2. The King of Wands and Queen of Wands going within to cross the road. The 46 of the leap for joy, as the Knight of Wands and the Queen of Cups connect the dots of bliss and their high vibe destiny. The choice, the shift, and she, which includes he, to see the seed, or saw the pearls of sensuality in a destined leap of joy, with arms up in the air, receiving the light, which also, when you can't settle down, you're guided to put your arms up over your head, which helps you settle down. So what the seed was coming up as, notice that seed is past tense of see, right? So someone who saw. So that's why that came up. So then the seesaw was also coming up. But seed is also past tense of having seen. The underlying energy here at 9:33 of the Hermit and that Christ vibration, getting to know each other, bonding, and chemistry, magnetic, reconciliation of the past returning, of finances and career affecting your love life right now. After the bliss of holiday time together, codependency seen, and children affecting your love life as well. In heart-to-heart conversations with or about children or siblings bonding or getting to know each other in chemistry, and perhaps someone has chemistry class, as the poles attract reconciliation with one from your past, to plant ideas about finance or career. So then the first card here is passion, all heart and soul to sing with joy. And then that was bringing up the fact my sister and I were singing Godspell, and I hadn't heard Godspell in so long. Like I talk about Jesus Christ Superstar all the time, but the fact is, in junior high school, I was obsessed with both albums, the Godspell and Jesus Christ Superstar, and I'd actually gone to New Hope to see the plays in New Hope, Godspell and Jesus Christ Superstar, which I actually liked Godspell as the play better, and then Jesus Christ Superstar as the movie better. And it was the junior high school, and I sent a fan letter to the one who played Jesus in Godspell, and he actually sent me his picture back. It was really cute. So we were singing Godspell on the way to Canada, and definitely I cried a couple times just hearing the music, because it was so profound to me. And we were driving through the high mountains on the way to Canada, so it was a very kind of like come to Jesus moment. Love yourself first. It makes you more attractive. And then the word trust, and Bank of America was coming up. But there's something about bond funds also coming up with that. Not just Bank of America as in a normal bank, but perhaps a bond fund or something else. But again, the word trust. So banks were coming up, as well as estate trusts, and in money, in God we trust. The situation is calling for you to have faith, with one card to make the effort, the inner child and the outer child. And that love, the great love that's worth taking the steps that you're guided to take. Right? So always follow your inner knowing. The underlying energy of 33 and 40 coming up here, of the Christ vibration and the innocence of the Page of Cups, the vulnerability of the baby, of Christ and the Page of Cups, to be gentle with the vulnerable and come together as the 43 Three of Cups, as love matters, which was bringing up my son because he's both the 43 soul number, and matters is Matt-ers, and that my son's Matthew. So coming together perhaps with your children, or just coming together with those who matter to you. Father and children, and show your support as well, as the bird opens to reveal a new plane, as the ship sails away. As the winter leaves and the spring begins, the 24 of the Queen of Wands, the wild child, riding the seahorse, or Andromeda and Pegasus. She with rainbow hair of Omega, the divine feminine's ego, her crown, the crown she wears, her hair, and the fire under water creates the steam, to be your best self always, Queen of Wands. As the Queen of Wands is getting the Page of Cups to play, the little boy avatars causing thunder rolls in the clouds with their laughter, the winged horses and their magic wands, chromosomes 47 and 48, synchronizing and going within, the heart to crown and heart to high heart connection, which is that 47 of heart to crown, but the 44 of the fourth finger to the fourth chakra heart, but then the fourth chakra heart to the eighth chakra heart, which is that 48 connection of going within. The heart to high heart and the 47, a little masculine pair, and 48 as the last two chromosomes, 47 and 48, were coming up as a little masculine pair, and then 48 is she, wild and free. She like Santa, and they laughing all the way, ha 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 ha. The 41 of being in service, of loving, the octopus teacher to baby seahorses, and feeding them seaweed to bring ocean and air worlds together, like in the movie Avatar, The Way of the Water, as Avatar 3 is about to come out sometime, I guess, in December or after in 2024. And again, whenever Avatar comes up, my great niece who passed away last year, Ava, comes up, because Avatar is Ava throne, Tar is throne in Pleiadian, and Ava is also the grandmother, so it has to do with our ancestors. So at 9:59, oh, by the way, it was really interesting too, because the name Morgan kept coming up, and the morgue in Morgan, and then Elena Denand was just talking about Sirius B, and talking about one of the collectives in the Sirius B planetary system was the Morgs, M-O-R-G or something like that, or Morgas, which is weird because that name was coming up prior to that, but I was shortening it to Morg. So Morgan and Ava were coming up, and then the year 1881, which was also coming up as 1008, and then 8001, with a comma between, which is the two eights, the crazy eights dancing side by side, and then bookends, and bookends keeps coming up over and over again, like the pillars and the bookends, framing the picture, the polarities, with the googly eyes in between, the source energy supporting them both and keeping their eyes on them. The avatar, or Ava's throne, the grandmother's throne, the high road of one, which is throne. The three of celebrating differences, of abundance and the empress, the matriarchs of land and sea, the unicorn and the dolphin, enjoying each other's differences, and the 9 in perfect setting of the sun rising through the clouds over the mountains. So the sequence of numbers that came up, I was putting them together, and 404 came up as well as 474 as being significant, along with the Christ vibration and the 24 Omega vibration, or the Pleiadians. And then 34043 also came up, reflecting itself. So the energetic exchange of 34, and the arrows of love with the 43 of the Three of Cups and coming together. With the 6 of Wands, the Queen of Wands, and the Knight of Cups, of energetic exchange and joy of the 8 of Wands and 3 of Cups. And then my name, Evelyn Esther, is coming up as that EE of energetic exchange. And then I already told you about my son, Matthew. And he was coming up here too as his joy inside. And then his sister coming up. So it was really this accentuating the love between the family, right? The mothers and children and their fathers and children. And the Empress and the Hermit, or Taurus and Virgo, bullish and pure as the 12 expands from mountain to mountain. 2 hands, as little girl riding buck, like wild child and sea horse, ushers in the divine feminine to expand or ushers in the divine masculine rather, to expand his hand to the divine feminine, grounding her while she's in the etheric realm with double rainbows and hot air balloons, 4 and 4, which is that reference to the 4th finger to the heart, with ships delivered and twins joining forces, with 4 of Pentacles and 4 of Pentacles, which is 72 and 72, which is the 144, and 44 is the 8, which is the high heart, the 4th finger to the heart of 4, and then the 8th, which is the high heart, the heart to heart with the secret witnesses present, unaware of their observation from a nook. So this connection between the masculine and feminine is being observed by someone that they're not aware of. Hanging out, seeing new perspectives, being wise, and Sophie, as in Sophia, a human with connections, in the purple moon, and the 18 reflecting 81 as the end of karma in the purple moon or 0 point field. And I already told you about the 1881 and Morgan coming up, and then the Morgan dollar value came up. So at 1033, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the Christ vibration, that destiny of unity, the first card out here was the 49 of heighten your vitality, with the 42, let love be your beacon, and 11 to make a decision. Getting your wish is the 2 of Cups and justice alignment to brighten your mandala, your personal one, for 1-to-1 alignment with truth and balance, blushing orange with peacock in arm, heart in hand, and desert or jungle. The life essence of self-satisfaction by letting love light you up to align with what you want. Cancer and Libra here, they keep coming up as well together. But Libra may be an indecisive energy there. With 44 as the next card, to seek beauty in her harvest of Hercules, her Q's and his P's, as 2 peas in a pod and a quantum leap, that which stores the seeds to implant in her womb. The 2 L's of the 4 and the 2 1's of the 4, which then becomes the Holy Grail, elevated above the alignment of the 11, where the Holy Grail comes before the alignment. Twin lambda leap, where the lamb and the da is the leap from Christ to Father. Okay, the twin lambda leaps requires both of you to connect to Source before, which equals transition of the lambda, or the dough with connections. The right angle of the lamb and the right angle M-B, the M and the B of Mary and the carpenter in transition here for Easter on 4/9, I believe. The 44 with 11 candles and the Holy Grail, the hole and the tunneling in Venetian waters, with Esther Williams, sink or swim, a special dear one seeks your attention. Swimming to an altar inside a castle wave, learning how to receive love by grounding, integrating, and mastering your boredom, your quiet time, and using it wisely. The 10 of opening your heart to that swan love and the destiny to be enveloped in he, as little ones are up to something when the moon is full. At 11:01, and by the way, the next full moon, I think it's for, I'm thinking the 7th, is the 7th or 6th? I know May is May 5th, and June is June 4th, and then July is July 3rd, and that's UTC. So at 11:01, which is alignment with magician embodiment or the masculine, as the numbers from those cards come up, they were totaling up to like 80 plus 1, or reflecting that, of the feminine, lots of feminine energy there. The missing piece of destiny, or 80, and that's where the 18 and 81 came up, reflecting again. of the purple moon, and then the end of karma around the world, and 1008 to 8001, which again is the two twins dancing in the center with the bookends on either side. The underlying energy of the 24 swans, the Queen of Wands and the Page of Cups, and the 10 of the journey of train and man with top hat, but not a yellow hat, but black, a formal event. As the man with the yellow hat perhaps changes his hats, maybe he wears many hats, and F.W. Baker destined to be, and that could be someone who's baking or someone's name, but fast forward Baker, and I'm getting Baker's man, you know, catch me as, see if you can catch me as, wait, the gingerbread man. And anyway, that's coming up. So something about the gingerbread man and the baker. And forward to the baker, destined to be, the 5 of the mature worldly man, destined to map it out. The 5 and dime, or perhaps get able to create something on a dime, or the son, or perhaps a couple, going to see his father to discuss a plan. Conductor or atlas, perhaps a father concerned about contracts or marriage regarding his son, with sudden thoughts of her, or older man looking back at his younger years, or the one that got away, with Libra, Taurus, Scorpio here, with wise group of birds, or thinking of the E tower and hanging out with a group of bird watching. This could be hanging out with a group or bird watching. Maybe someone likes to watch birds. The key being the type of work he does, and does it bless his heart? The key to the cage is the tree keys, or the 3 keys that are tree keys, which is the tree chez, C-H-E-Z, which is keys, the tree house, or a bailout, as the queen's coin exchanges hands man to man, or a penny. The 27 of the Ace of Wands, inspiring with unexpected income or incoming or coin, which is also Kohan or co-pilots, destined journey through thoughts of the divine feminine and working with the Christ consciousness until aligned with the lock then clicking open. Freeing self from prison, coins, chains, anxieties, debt, owing anything, the 35 wounded warrior's path is lined with butterflies like the south of France. Over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go, as Sarah takes her kids to see Mary Magdalene, the 38 Queen of Cups, her long line of women toiling and laboring, being owned by men and traded by men, and yet she still chooses to love. The Pisces and Saggy as the Queen of Wands and Page of Cups, who grows to be the Queen of Cups, still working for the man who may want something from her, and does he believe in her or just want her for himself? And again, there's that ownership wound. The first card out then is the 42 of one-to-one direction, and the H, the capital H, and the right angle of the leap to conceive and direct, as I'm losing my voice, as I was about to talk about north and south. The right angle, or the L, of the leap to conceive and direct, or cause an angle as in motion, right, to direct you in a certain direction, not just up and down. As the north and south change, the nodes change to Aries and Libra on July 18th, I believe, with 38 and 42 is the Queen of Cups and the 2 of Cups. Queen of Cups working on Atlas after a long and winding road of multiple transformations at 1123, which is alignment with the King of Wands this year, or Libra and King of Wands, where we have 38 and 42, which is 3, 8, 4, 2. So 3, 8 for 2, instead of a mother and child would be 2 eating for 2, but you were actually 3 eating for 2 because your other was affecting you while you were pregnant. The Queen of Cups, 1-to-1, and Grandma in factory found her way to France to bring her girls home. So they're talking about, like, the names in my family is really weird because I'm Evelyn, which is little Eve, and my mother's Mary. So you have Esther and Mary, and then you have my grandmother was Esther, and my other grandmother is Dorothy, like in The Wizard of Oz. So my grandmother, they were in Poland starving, and she made her way with her much older brother, because she had raised her younger brother in the sewing factories in Poland when she was 10. She made her way to France with her much older brother to bring her girls home. So saying that she did this for a reason. And notice that Esther and Easter are really the same words, because EST is EAST as well. And it's East, her. East, urgently. And again, French Canada and Q of Quebec also coming up here, right? Going from France to Quebec, where I just spent some time. So in French, it came from Quebec with a K, and Quebec means it narrows, and references the St. Lawrence River that actually narrows to cliff-lined gap, and as it ends going south, it ends up in the U.S. The Q of Quebec and the bright yellow flag, where bec is the lamb, the beak and the bill, the kiss and the mouth, the river, small, and the light bulb. The Q of Quebec, the QUE, is the Q, the letter Q, that which, how, what, when, only who, just but then, and because, like as to, and a small stick. East Canada, the Q and the lamb, the key of the kiss and the mouth, the small stick, the small river, and the bright yellow light bulb that goes off. So Quebec means what? A kiss, and key DNA of the Queen's lamb, which is Sarah, her river that flows to New York, where I love, and why, where Mary climbs to her post at the Statue of Liberty, and again coming up as the Akashic Records or the Free Library, where liberty is libre or libre in French, the inner bark of the tree, the fiber, the hemp, or the book of public records, the Akash, or the people, which also came up as LJUDI, which again was bringing up Judas. Free, independent, unrestricted, open and void, the libre, which means free and clear of duty, charge, burden, obligation, or single. Child, book, and free, so again the library. Where Sarah with an H is Sarai, which means masters, or princes, or wife of Abraham. And Sarah without an H is the tail, to close, shut, charm, and today. The moon, shed, exceedingly, and wholly as in fully. The sedge plant, habit, practice, way, or custom. She is the life support, the sustenance, perhaps the money, which is just standing for an energy exchange. The fault, the sin, the arrow, right, who got blamed, the sound and vowel, the lake, and the dried corn, to be insane. Closing and south, and Sarah also means a twin, to take or carry something over like water, and the epilepsy, the fork, the branch of liberty. To light, ignite, and to burn is also Sarah, where liberty means free child of Akash with gratitude. And that comes up as Sarah, right, because she's the lineage. The fork or branch that ran away with the spoon kept coming up since before I left, you guys. That was like the first message from when I left to go to Canada. The fork ran away with the spoon. And Sarah being broke down as Sarah, to bear fruit, regarding the nut, the fruit, or the frog. Where spoon is Sophia's poon, right? The vagina, the sex, the stem, the peacock, the tree, the leader, the Lord, and the master. The image of a saint, Sophia's stem, or tree, or peacock, or leader, with the image of a saint. With 30 and 39, then, of the mature, peaceful, spiritual union with the King of Swords and the Knight of Cups as community. The Queen of Cups and the Knight of Cups, which here can reference Mary Magdalene and Sarah. So back to the cards at the end of this row is the 26 which is also the Ten of Pentacles and the Page of Wands, and then the 5, which is the Seven of Cups. The Page of Wands, whose key to the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community, legacy. The Hierophant, the change, the freedom of the family tree, of synchronicities and options, of heaven in their eyes. The 11 with triple sevens, which is the sudden wealth of a full house, and the tree keys, and hitting the jackpot, as the lock then aligns and opens, cracking the codes of your legacy. The butt of Polish and Irish jokes at 12:12, two hanging out together to see new perspectives, right? Because they also are some of the ones who went through the worst of it. With 38 and 42 coming into union of the 30 with the Knight, so it's the Queen of Cups, the Two of Cups, union with the Knight of Cups, and 11, which is alignment, which is also, there could be Libra there too. And the shift to passion and self-love, and 1-to-1, the Divine Feminine, Pisces, and loving self first, 1-to-1, and blush in union with King of Swords. The Knight of Wands seed, the one who saw, is the question in the heart, to trust and align with, to make a decision. So remember, don't forget, you're both connected all the time. With the Knight of Cups community, where cheers are waiting. The Queen of Cups making an effort to seek beauty in 44, in your candles, inspired by what's inside for safekeeping. The bliss of you and your twins' innocence, and the high vibe opening of hearts to swan love, to the codes and the tree and the synchronicities, and the hitting of the jackpot with the full house, the sudden wealth of a family, whether it's just you two little kids or you, your twin, and children. The story of Mary Magdalene at 12:21, which is so weird because my daughter told me yesterday morning she woke up at 12:21, and she was working very late, which is why she sleeps late. So Magda, as in Magda, Mag was coming up, which means all night or dusk to dawn. And then Lena is the turmeric, with which or with whom. It's also the breath, the force, the energy, the vigor, the seductress, the enticer, the madam, wet, moist, soft, and smooth. And so Magdalene was coming up as night moves. Also the nucleus comes up here. The most important part, right, is the rest, the seed, the core, the nucleus, the belly, your belly, the most important part of you. She comes up as the breath of nightlife. Not magma, as in a volcano, but Magda, the breath. The breath of fresh air. And the Deline is also plural for Tao, which is the flagstone or the many valleys, right? In the valley of the shadow of death between the mountains, which are bridging here. To give songs, wholes, nows, and divisions. To hit, beat, distances, trees, eyes, and branches. To catch, capture, hold, or to continue. So Magdalene here means the nucleus, the core, the belly of the now moment. Giving songs and wholes, trees, eyes, and branches, distances and divisions, many valleys here between the mountains, or stones and flagstones of yellow, symbolizing the Q of the Queen, the Q of the JC, which is the toroidal field on an angle or with movement. The Queen of JC. The leap of the torus, or the quantum push and pull with direction, at 12:38 to 39, which is the Queen of Cups and Knight of Cups together, hanging out. And again, this references also Easter coming up. So this is where I tried to do the first two reads from last week, and I actually did them, but then I put up the wrong cards, and I just wasn't feeling it, so I didn't post it. And the movie Strangers came up, which was about an African boy, finding his way through his life to survive and getting help from outsiders to become, he had to go through all these difficulties to become what he would become. So now we have this, and Spirit's connecting with me, and I was getting really emotional too. I put in Unforgettable with, Nat King Cole came up this morning in the read, and I put it on just to be reminded of the lyrics of the verse, and it was the one with his daughter, and yeah, it was very emotional right away. So there's that energy of connecting of, parents and children, which is that pure love. So this was the one we just did. And then here is the next one. Okay, so at the top for this one, we have Shaman Dreams and then the energy deck. And then that combined Lenormand, Reverie, and Kipper. Then this is Rider Waite, but it's a new deck my daughter just got me. It's all silver, so I put that in there. It's the full deck. And then we have the Wild Unknown at the bottom, guidebook. The Wild Unknown Animal Guidebook. All right, so here's a little bit closer so you can see the cards. Okay, so this one was done on the 30th, or yesterday, which was the 30 of the union energies, or the home, which added up to 40 yesterday, which is the Page of Cups. This very innocent love at home or in union. So this was done 944 to 50. So 44 we talked a lot about just now. Through the 45 of the purge, the 5 of Cups, the 46 of the 6 of Cups of the inner children coming together and the outer children, and the 49 of the 9 of Cups of getting your wish, of self-satisfaction, to culminate at the 950, which is the 10 of Cups, right? The ultimate emotional satisfaction of the unity of family, which ultimately would be the whole world, the collective. The cards at the end of each pile were 1, 3, 3, 1, 2, but also came up as 1, 6, 6, 9, 5, which were very interesting because they're coming up as Jesus and Mary Magdalene, the 33 of the Christ vibration, the 66 of the Queen of Pentacles, which comes up as Mary Magdalene at the Golden Gate. Her more practical side as the gate holder. So 13312 was coming up as the leap to the Christ consciousness or unity consciousness with the 12, which is the hanging man, but also 12 is a 3. And then the 166 of the leap to Mary Magdalene, and the 95, which is the reflection of 59, which is the 5 of swords, the inner war, the war within. So 59 was coming up as, the way numerology works, like with a double number, is the 59 would be the 9 on the inside working through the 5 on the outside, whereas 95 is the 5 on the inside of freedom working through the 9 on the outside, which is about compassion and selflessness and world service. It's the energy of God as 9 being forced to change, right? So that's what expansion is. It's God forcing themselves to change and expand, to be different. So the collective without, and then 1010 came up, the time, which is 2 destinies, the wheels rolling. I always get the big wheels keep on turning when that comes up. Hanging with Jesus, and again, this is coming up with the hanging of Jesus, literally where the collective is hanging out with him on the cross and Jesus with hurt feelings. Also, within 13312, a number came up in Gematria that was 597820. And I actually wanted to read those. Oops, sorry about that. They were kind of odd, but interesting. See, I think I took a picture. Let me see. Maybe I didn't. So let me just, it takes a second just to look it up. So let's see what it said. Five, 9. All right, so this is actually 13312 is this. Okay, and these were really long. so I didn't want to write them all down. So the first entry for 13312, which is Jesus's number, says Judas, this is the first entry, Judas' new home with Michael Jackson, a pair of smooth criminals, and a sick, twisted king, not Jesus, nor King David, nor Satan, whom serves me now, new King David. The second entry was, what is obvious to me. It is obvious to me at this point that I am not what any of you girls want, so I am just going to set my fate so that I never see any of you again, and vice versa. And then the third entry says, why didn't anyone try to befriend me to gain my trust? How can I trust anyone when everyone lies to me and no one has apologized? I will not take one step towards you. So it very much for me brought up, the frustrations of the masculine. And then with the 16695, which is the Mary Magdalene energies, the entry came up as just real humans rise now 9 times, and then it said we win after that. So it's kind of interesting. So again, it's calling all humans, real humans rise now, to just rise their vibration so that they're not feeling in that victim mentality anymore, where we win. So the feminine energy rising to pull everyone up. As we start with the underlying energy at 1012 here, the 10 of the Wheel of Fortune, the 12 of the Hanging Man. And again, before Easter, a lot of Jesus and Mary Magdalene energy comes up for me in my reads. The underlying energy of 25 of the Knight of Wands in the Garden of Venus, and again the Garden of Gethsemane coming up here, and the 53 of the Knight of Swords of the Magician and the Mirror, or his reflection. The 8 of the False Person, the High Priestess reversed, and the Turtle came up here, as the Knight of Wands is resting in that Venus's garden with Gethsemane was coming up as Get Semen. And Geth also, G-E-T-H, the only word that came up, because Geth doesn't come up on its own, with A-N on the end, which is one, means penis or tail, without one, or leap. And the Knight of Wands and Knight of Swords, magician, to see his mirror reflection. The 8 dance of masks and false persons, as the High Priestess reversed, or higher self reversed, and Turtle, who's very slow, the secret passion and the slow turtle out of their shell, waving in the dark, but unseen because they are not shining their light, and she is not keeping to herself or feeling like her abilities have been turned off, which we often do sometimes. Like, we'll get lots of very direct messages, and then all of a sudden, no matter how much we meditate, we're not really getting any messages, and it's 1:33 on the clock and 47:57 here. It just turned to 48, so saying to go within. So when you have the heart to crown energies, at 1:33, the leap to the Christ, so saying to leap into your connection with unity consciousness or Christ or source, to raise your heart to your crown again. But sometimes it's just going, it's just you're being guided to disconnect for a reason. So at 1019, which is the Wheel and the Sun, the underlying energy of the 51, the King of Swords, meditating on the bridge in the middle, aligning with the 12D shield, right? Your grounding mechanism to the whole planet. The High Priestess cord, or Ascension Glossary coming up. Again, if you want to know more about the 12D shield, you can look in Ascension Glossary. Stars in the sky with limitless possibilities, and the 28 of the Twin Flames, hollow bone, that are teachable by making themselves whole, and as in full, and then hold out or hollowed. A clear vessel to channel through. God's humble loyal servant of self-love. Bullwinkle and Rocky Road, adorning feathers, and trumpet, or the alchemist's pill crusher, made of bone. Or is that the elephant's trunk as opposed to tusks and ivory? So it's like a moose. It's a skeleton of a moose with a pill crusher made of kind of bone or ivory. But it really looks like it's showing us that the moose is related to the elephant, because that would be the antlers of the moose become the elephant's ears, And this pill crusher that's connected to the moose's nose then becomes the elephant's trunk. Here they are relating the moose with the trumpet to the elephant, with ears and nose built in. The 48 of the 8 of Cups and the sky dancers surrender to butterflies within, free to fly, as the 25 Knight of Wands enters her secret garden or spa to get the Knight of Wands back on their feet or detox where they've fallen or faltered perhaps. The King of Swords twin flame goes within to lighten up, to enter her garden with code to get across the hidden moat drawbridge. So it's her secret garden is like the little girl's place to hide when the energy's not right. He's been sitting on her bridge that only she can open and lay down, which means she has let go enough to open her bridge for him to be sitting on the bridge and let him across to her secret garden. The one of the 29, the horned cactus, and resourcefulness, and notice resourcefulness, a bit prickly and horned and green, but gushy inside and present with gifts. And like the square peg in the round hole, does the cactus fit in the garden? Or get some, as in Gethsemane. The 62 of the Will-o'-the-Wisp, which also is a hotel in Maryland, with flights of fancy here. In prison or release at 1035, the destiny of the wounded warrior, and the lessons learned, the gifts received from being trapped in a hole or prison with no way out, the way we imprison ourselves, forcing us to wait, which is really teaching us to allow and let go simultaneously to flow. At 1036, which is Atlas, and the 59 of the wailing tree of reconciliations, of the elephant and the whale, of land and sea's greatest creatures. To be large and in charge is a lot of responsibility, and neither give up. Torn, tattered, and exhausted, they keep going, one step or breath at a time. And notice time is T-I and M-E, to source me, you, and creator, where creator is eat in the middle of CR and OR, which CR is credit for 10 million Indian, or Cree, Aboriginal language of Canada near the Great Lakes, so perhaps expanded out into the US as well, and is the Cree related to the Ree Indians. And one dialect is called the Moose Cree. And then they became Innu as well, I-N-N-U, in East and West Innus. So the codes that came up on that chart about this line of Aborigines was number 62, and this was in Wikipedia. 62 came up with ADA, and Ada was the name of the little boy in Africa of that movie of Strangers, with AA and AB, and then Africa coming up, so all the way up to AF, to Africa. CR also references the crow's caw. So creator translates to 10 million credit for Cree and Innu, or I pray, yellow, gold, or coat of arms. Options equivalent, dog, gold, and glows. To dawn, become light, become red, now, presently, sono, or ago. Beginning, honor, or an alder tree, which the genus is allness, which is anus with an L or leap inserted. The mouth or origin, right, which is the hole against the entry point. The mite or the mite, as in a bug. Before song or singing or chant, would are, which also means eagle in the air, and feeling of shame at the bottom of the illumination chart. So creator is 10 million Crees or Innu or caws around the Great Lakes or bodies of water, where they eat or, which means they pray, glow, or dawn, and are present in the now moment, to begin and honor the alder tree or the elder tree, to originate from the mouth a song or chant, as the eagle flyer, to let go of those red feelings of the root of shame, where it's darkest before the dawn, especially on the eagle's perch, high above the rest. Again, taking the responsibility of being so high up, feeling the magnificence of it all on the mountaintop, and feeling unworthy to dive in, wanting to take the responsibility so that the others can have fun, where Saggy moves into Capricorn, where Saggy did the free willy walk to see what they could see, and wound up or spiraled high atop a mountain. But when Capricorn hit, the responsibility of it all set in. And do I deserve to be up here if I don't do the walk myself to get here? I'm wanting to give back to those who lifted them up. So the eagle equals EA and glee, my pleasure to take responsibility, to say thank you to the collective. And again, this could also be, which came up yesterday. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you this. I think this comes up in my read today too. Or maybe this comes up in this read that I'm doing now. But when I went to Canada, my sister and I were in one hotel, and our friends were in the other hotel next door. And our room number was 340, and their number was 337. And I was guided into, my cards were so Titanic yesterday. And I was guided to look up to see if there was any news about the Titanic. And the article that came up was from September, and there was another update about new footage that came up last month. But in September, there was an article about the 20 things you didn't know about the Titanic. And I didn't listen to the whole thing, but the first section of the 20th thing, they talk about the numbers of the Titanic, like survival and loss, because there's so many more lost than people realize. And he literally states that 340 people were found floating with their vests on, right, which is our room number, and that 337 people survived, which was their room number. So there was this energy about, that you have lived these lives before so that you can then help other people who go through it. And survivor's guilt was coming up, right? Because I said it jokingly to our friends. I'm like, I guess, well, me and Connie died in the water and you guys survived, and now you guys have survivor guilt over having left us behind, which is interesting too, because I've seen myself jump off many years ago. I saw myself jump off a ship with my son. So I know I jumped ship with him, so that might have been actually on the Titanic. So that wound's coming up. Again, of the responsibility, the weight of the world, of having lived when someone else didn't. The 62 and 59 come up here, the imprisonment and the war within that leads to freedom if you can accept, allow, release and let go and just be. Not just A or one, but B, to see, which D means of, E, which is one equal and congruent to the F, which is the twin flame, the digamma energy, and then the G of the spiral, and of course God, in both directions to creator. To say HI, which is high, to J, and K energy at L, which is the right angle, of M, which is co-creation, of Christ, capital N, in O, which is human embodiment of source, form, with P as the pin housing, to Q, which is the quantum leap of the R, which then extends the hand, of the S, Sophia's sine wave and snake, to rise to the T, or top, for the holy grail of the U, in the UV rays of her creation, of X-ray at the Y in the road, to Z at the end, which is 26, and 2026 was coming up very significant as when we're finally going to be rid of all this energy we've been dealing with. The Z, which equals 26, and the Page of Wands, and the inspiration of when the capital N of Christ falls over to become the Z, where Christ was knocked down. And then that was at 11:09 to 11:10, which then I wrote new book, because it was actually the end of this book that I'm writing in. So again, the book ends. So we have 25, 29, 62, and 59, which then lead to the card 56, which at 11:11 this is, which is the wall of obstacles. And again, the reference to the year 2023 to 24. Inside the wailing tree, where 59 is the war outside in, and 56 is coming up as the war inside out. As then the next card in the next pile of the underlying energy is 53, which is the Knight of Swords. But we have 59, 56, 53. So there's that 963 energy of change. And the Knight of Swords, messenger of truth, after seeing and experiencing both perspectives. So the Knight of Wands is present to prison in and out of tree, projecting an audience in a theater near you as Avatar 2 and 3, where the first one came out December 18th, 09, the second one 12/16/22, and now Avatar 3 in a theater near you from 2023 to 24 sometime. So remember, Avatar 1 went within to the avatar body as a human, to number 2, which then translates to the water and emotions, which now we're going to 3, which I'm getting is the air of the 3, like the bird, the eagle mind. So I don't know what they're planning for Avatar 3. But from the age of Pisces, which we're leaving into Aquarius now, from the age of Pisces and the fish, the Christ, leaping out of the emotion and transcending the body to Aquarius, which is Aquarius, which is the emotion of laughter, to free the tears, the release of the dense body, and the swelling from welling up. At 11:23, which is alignment and justice of the King of Wands, the 36 of Atlas, and the second chakra, Ariel, the sacral creator and map of intent, the weight of pregnancy, where pregnancy is broken down to pregnancy, which GNANC means neither. So before, neither. Just like as both, taking the two poles and bringing them together, so is neither. As the 42, the Two of Cups, women holding the coin, gold or token, of the square in a round hole, she and her black cat, or familiar, with royal reds and purples and golds all aglow, in lilac and black, or the red couch, after the 15 of Capricorn with gratitude, but with a poker face, and dressed just right, learning the number 36 of Atlas and the 10 of Wands of the weight of the world, and what it means to work hard, the heavy labor, seen as the 42 of women, or the woman with a coin, who would share 1-to-1, right? 42 looks like they would want to share 1-to-1, with 13 of transition through financial constraints, or empty cupboards, or ancient closets to clear cobwebs from, of envy, or N, capital N and capital V, which is Christ creation, and the dark mother, of judgment, one of woe and one of envy. And are they so different here? Or willing to share nothing, like Colonel Klink, I share nothing, that was coming up this week as well, but appearing to be, the 1-to-1 Two of Cups who wants to share with one in a loving relationship of Scorpio and Aquarius, or one's wake-up call to their mother's or their own darkness, wanting to control the starting gun, as the stallions or stall lions, black and white, are off to the races 2017, taking action to merge for dreams to come true, with a contract to blindly feel your way, unable to see the other horse in the race, right, with the blinders on, to make sure you stay channeled, right, that you focus on straight ahead. As the 53 Knight of Swords, Magician in the Mirror, perhaps Aquarius and Gemini here, after Capricorn, Saggy, and Scorpio emptied, again brought up the last years since 2017 of the South Node. And again, there was this energy of Capricorn responsibilities. So think back when the South Node was in Capricorn, was 4/10/2000 to 10/13/2001, so that included 9/11. And then when Capricorn again was in the South Node, was 11/7/18 to 5/5/2020, which then includes COVID. But what was right before Capricorn was then Sagittarius. I'm not Sagittarius, but Aquarius. Where Leo is in the North Node, was significant there because it took us back to 2017, which is when Leo was North Node and Aquarius was in the South Node. So you might want to think back at the relationship to that of the nodes. And this could be somebody peeking in on two other people. And then again, observing what's happening. At 1150 is the alignment or justice of the 50 of Ten of Cups of the emotional family. And the 12 is the first card here of the Hanging Man and the Temple Path of Easter and the Jew and Pilate's hands that were tied, where he's saying, what can I do? At 53, the elder in the 11th hour, or aged Judas in the garden, with 51, the King of Swords all aglow as the healer of the ages, who was meditating on the bridge, not at the gate. And King of Swords is all aglow as would be the healer of the ages, who is meditating on the bridge and not at the gate, as he is Christed with flame in each hand. The Two of Cups holds the flames as the dome overhead, which is so weird too, because the dome images kept coming up, and then Elena was talking about all the domes that she was seeing on Sirius. So, like father, like son, at 1154, the alignment with the Page of Swords, which is Mercury energy, which is that Gemini and Virgo energy. Like father, like son, as father is the messenger of truth, says don't shoot the messenger. As Sophia, O wise one, sits in her secret garden, in the space between father and son. Father surrounded by two gardens, and a false person or persons of disguise. The garden at day with abundant purple and pink flowers and natural tree dome, and the other is with a gazebo of Chinese lanterns, which lanterns, I wasn't sure if lanterns originated in China or Japan, but it originated in the Han Dynasty about 25 to 220 AD, where then the monks adopted to celebrate Buddha, and then it kind of transferred over to Japan as well. So the Buddhist temples in Japan used them about 794 to 1185, with many green plants here. Between the two gardens, one's more flowers and natural branches bridging, where the other one bridges with a gazebo, which is man-made, of course. Between the two gardens, the horned cactus, and between Chinese garden and false person, lies the labyrinth of manicured bushes, with gazebo in the middle, the hedge maze, that evolved in the mid-16th century, with sketches as early as 1460, as hundreds contracted in Europe from 16 to 18, those centuries, with King William III in England and Louis XIV in Versailles. And that was all nbm.org was coming up there. The labyrinth of Crete, the menacing Minotaur, which is half human and half bull, would wait at the center of the labyrinth, with Herodotus saying, the pyramids likewise surpass description, but the labyrinth surpasses the pyramids. And initially the labyrinth was not used as a puzzle to confuse someone. It was used as a quieting tool to find your spirit, right? It wasn't a way to get lost, but a way to get found. And Spirit's connecting with me there very strongly. So it was just, a one lane, tunnel through the bushes to take a walk and relax. It wasn't where you had to keep making choices. It was just one avenue to keep walking through in order to clear your mind and find spiritual peace. So the first recorded labyrinth came up in Egypt, 5th century BC, that's recorded, and Cretan labyrinth. And then at 1215 to 16 here, from the tower to the star, or the healing tower, the way it's coming up, a tower of healing, a place to be apart from everyone else's energies in nature, which we all know has a grounding effect and a healing effect. With 53, 12, and 51 here, the Knight of Swords hanging out with the King of Swords, and the 49 of the Angel of Love, and the sweet twin flame, 28, with Victory, as the two, High Priestess, Divine Feminine, or Higher Self, holds the hand of he while on the bridge, while he holds the family under the rainbow, as she chooses the direction, where 3 arrows point forward to the family as she looks back at directions, but 1 arrow points back, which may be broken or out of alignment to confuse her to the labyrinth. But the labyrinth wasn't supposed to be confusing, but to allow a single path to calm the mind and raise the spirit. The Angel of Love is victorious in the journey to happy family of 2 to 4, which, remember, those are the spaces between 1 and 3, 1, 2, 3, and 3, 4, 5. After 28, which is 2, 8, after the quantum leap to twin, to find peace, to take forward to family of 4, which is the lambda leap. That a religious family will at least understand that relationship with God and the loving family. So to teach a religious family as a twin what they've learned to those of traditional thinking, to direct connect as opposed to using an intermediary. From the 4 of survival to the 8 to dance to dreams, the 48 of the Angel of Balance who goes within, to the 34 of the energetic exchange of nature inside and out, with the window wide open for that 50 10 of cups. And here's where the archangels come up, right? So I keep getting this symbol of the archangels. So instead of just AA, they're coming up as like two like Chinese temples or Buddhist temples, okay? And then the lines across are coming up as the bridges, which then also connects to what Elena was talking about yesterday, because everything in Sirius she was describing on Sirius B were very high bridges from tower to tower. And that the towers weren't like our towers straight up and down, but they were tapered where they were very big at the bottom, just like what I just showed you. And what I just showed you is coming from A and A of the archangels and split between, because they're showing you they're holding hands in the middle, but also is the M that's not structured, but very wide at the bottom, like on Sirius B. So the AA of the archangels, or the Buddhist temples, connect here as the twins do, which is referencing the M, which is of co-creation. And so the AA is just the M, but with wide bases, like on Sirius B, with the passes between the mountains. An Asian flare of temples joined in the valley. The twin towers co-creating with the angel of strength, the matriarchal lioness. The 48, 49, and 50 come up here, of going within to get the wish of self-satisfaction and the ultimate family as well, right? The whole kit and caboodle. With 12, and I wanted to bring up 2. I wanted to show you those cards because that came up really cool. So this was from the energy deck. There it is. And they're probably still in that same order, because the way these 2 cards came in was so cool. All right, so these two cards lined up from the energy deck, and it was just like this. Look, you see how her arm becomes his arm? So this is talking about her connecting to the masculine as the masculine connects to the family, which can reference the world. Just like, you know, the wife connects to the husband, and the husband then goes outside the family to work, right? She takes care of the inner house. He takes care of the outer house. And I just had to show you that because it was so perfect. And this was coming up. She looks like she's going forward, but she's not. This is forward, right? It's all in the perspective. You think she's crossing the bridge to choose a direction over here. But what happened is this is broken, and this is meant to be over here, all pointing forward, but it got broken and out of alignment. So she was going forward to this energy that she feels, but she kept looking back to make sure, because she was confused by the broken labyrinth. You see? Very cool. Yeah, that was really cool. So at 12:59 is the Hanging Man and the 59 of the Five of Swords. The men's temple of pillars and Parthenons, of deserts and hedges. Where did all the flowers go, the young girls, as the girls find peace and bridge with family to achieve the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, bringing nature in, leaving the boys holding all the excess energy in their hands and no one to heal as they healed themselves. The angels of love, balance, and strength on their way to grandmother's house we go. So, and again, that's Ava means grandmother. And again, Avatar is coming up here too, and the Pleiadians, of course, because they're blue people. At 1:05 is the leap to the 5. The 1 is the magician, the 5 is the Hierophant. The 1 is also divine masculine, and the space between them. Right? The magician is very alternative, whereas the Hierophant's very traditional. And the underlying energy of the 5 of the family tree and the 7 of cups, of synchronicities and options that your family gives you, and the love there, and the dreams, that they've always known your dreams. Whether they liked them or not, or agreed with you or not, is a whole other story. But the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Swords are coming up here in the family tree, clinging to the trunk on the rainbow bridge through the trunk as she arced in this. She's arcing in the rainbow in the sky, where he's arcing in the rainbow through the physical family tree, along with nature. The 11 of sudden wealth of 11 and 777, the full house, where the numbers then all are aligned, with the 22 of the Queen of Pentacles, which the 22 is the 5D station where you can leap off to any other dimension, the Queen of Pentacles and the leap of faith at the end of the red carpet, where the only choices are to get off path to go one way or the other, or to leap at the end of the carpet, or, of course, go around the long way. Justice at the 5D station, or 30th Street, which is Philadelphia's main train station. The 21 of the Mountain Pass, in energetic exchange where the Queen of Pentacles leaps and the Buck climbs, as the Lady of Titanic, or Rose, with Jack and the Beanstalk, the main female number 2 with a rose at windows on the world when he reaches the top of the mountain, right? So that they can be at the same place at the same time. One does it naturally and the other one uses AI. The 36 of Atlas and the 10 of Wands in the ship of distant horizons anchored at the bottom of the sea, but seen in the parting of the seas thereof, taking the emotions out of the equation, to again have those blinders on so you keep on path. The 2 of the divine feminine, higher self, and the 6 of pentacles, and the 4-leaf clovers, as the divine feminine, higher self, or 2, share luck in making wishes. The 26 of the Page of Wands and the great fortune of the golden maiden of the fields, where all they touch turns to gold. The 24 of Omega and the Page of Cups reflecting swans, perhaps playing in their room. The Page of Wands and Queen of Wands, the Page of Cups and the High Priestess, which could be the Queen of Cups as well, like mother and children here. Or this is the feminine and their inner children, whether she's fiery or watery, with the 23 King of Wands standing up for themselves. Perhaps they're standing up to others' messes, whether it's kids or pets or their partners, or are they cleaning up their own mess? Where the Queen of Wands sees 1-to-1, and the King of Wands sees the mice or rugrats taking over the pillows and the food. Perhaps in the big house, or the house of judgment, or the gated community, or psycho house, or the embassy or safe house, and the 8 of the false person, the masked ball, or dancing the tango of when a man loves a woman. So that's coming up at 121. The leap to completion, the world, the divine feminine, that Pisces energy of 1 foot in this world and 1 in the next. Where the first card here is the 43 of the 3 of Cups and coming together at the center. And again, going back to the labyrinth. In a house of public opinion or judgment, or the public forum provoking anxiety or release of allergies perhaps. A grand fountain and terrace, or perhaps a terrarium at the center with plants. So again, imagine the gazebo in the middle of the labyrinth. And now they're showing you a close-up of that center, which is actually a terrarium with plants in it and this beautiful fountain and steps going up to it. The secret garden, which is the moat, and steps as the drawbridge to get there, and arriving there after breaking codes and paths with masked people, all in their own lanes. Again with the masks on, keeping you in your tunnel vision. With 8:43, 20, and 3, the dancing couple come together in a wake-up call to abundance. The mothership in the planetary alignment. The raptor sails, or grounding ship, to water here. So the first underwater images of Titanic were September 1st, 85, which is actually a combined U.S. and French expedition. So you can see how much French is coming up in the reads today. It's very much about France and the U.S., which is also French-Canadian. So the ship sank 414 in 1912, and so many cards in the Lenormand, Kipper, and Lenormand, Reverie, and Kipper decks were coming up as the Titanic. And this is where our rooms were coming up, 340 and 337. So new footage was released from The Independent, February 15th, 23, regarding 1986, and again, some more footage that was recovered, and again, regarding those never found, right? Those who died and went down with the ship, that they actually couldn't count. So again, 340 was the amount who were found floating with their life vests on, which is the room that me and my sister stayed in at Mount Tremblant. So here we are at this big mountain, right? And then our friends were in 337 next door. So I guess that we drowned and they survived. Finding the core, whether at land or sea, the 3 of the 10 of swords and the ship over the mountain, the Empress in a painful ending, or ship stuck on Plymouth Rock, against both in the same area, right? So the Titanic going from Europe to America, and then Plymouth Rock as well in that same northeast area. The Empress in a painful ending, or ship stuck on Plymouth Rock. But 2 different endings, right? One where the ship goes down and one where the ship didn't. It got stuck on a rock, which ended up being a very blissful cruise, finding their center of gravity. Those announcing who have been there before, present, hanging out, or coming together. 2 knights and the King of Swords in the garden before the ship got stuck, or Jurassic Park, an island that popped up out of nowhere, or an iceberg that got in the way. With 30, 29, and 40, judication, imprisonment, and 3 faces of the Page of Cups, the vulnerable. And again, the 3 faces of Eve. The Hotel California, where you can check in, but you may never leave. With home, union, and present to prison, lock, mouse, or in the fun house, again, referencing the labyrinth, or work release program, perhaps. The 9 of the Hermit and the Queen of Swords with flowers and gifts, and the 13 of Transition of the Child Page of Swords, and the 25 Knight of Wands in a passionate new commitment, deciding whether or not to let the workers out of the below deck. So remember in the movie Titanic, they were like being in prison down there, right? They had gates that were locked. They weren't allowed out from below deck, right? With the people who paid for the trip. So when the floods came, the guy was standing there deciding whether or not he should unlock the gates or not. So a lot of those women and children who were working for the ship went down with the ship. This ended up being a prison sentence for innocence. The Page of Cups, Queen of Swords, and Page of Swords, and the Knight of Wands who wants to put a ring on it. So remember that too, right? The guy who just wanted to manipulate his way to have, right, the so-called trophy bride, and she was being pawned off by her mother to catch a wealthy man, right, to save the family. So again, all these wounds regarding this stuff on the Titanic, or kids feeling trapped by the thought of their mother marrying someone else. Or perhaps in that case, not being able to, and so putting it back on the daughter. And that came up in the movie last night too, where the wealthy family didn't approve of the unwealthy boyfriend, okay, of the daughter, and then disowning her. The underlying energy of the strong mother taming the beast after breaking patterns, uncomfortable emotions, post-war or virus, and a falling out in the past, returning or disgruntled. This could be disgruntled children offering big love to help them over their grief, guilt or shame or loss, to help heal the mother's heart, or to help them forgive or apologize, or a secret passion here, or to come out of their shell, or to tell their secrets, or the sister out of integrity here with the Knight of Cups upright coming to offer love, perhaps with Pisces or Virgo in their chart. To the Queen of Swords having a talk with the world, the Divine Feminine or Pisces or neighbor, receiving love and then passing it on to others. And again, this was talking about two children, mostly about children supporting their parents, but also there can be situations where the children don't want them marrying somebody else, because then they're thinking about their inheritance and how it's going to go to somebody else, not to them, depending on their mother. At 207 is the High Priestess and the Seven of the Chariot, and receiving one card here was the Eight of Wands reversed. Again, that energy of delays and heated exchanges. We're holding on, saving, being practical, and being judgmental or holding back, perhaps an announcement, or after heated words, and not wanting to swallow their pride as I can't speak now. So obviously someone doesn't want to swallow their pride. And admit poor judgment, or having made a bad decision, in coming together in need of peace in the sun, vacation, or with kids or Leo, or where unpeaceful thoughts were revealed to all, with Aquarius reversed and Leo upright. Again, this references Leo in the North Node and Aquarius in the South Node, which was that 2017 reference when Leo was in the North Node, perhaps taking you away from your twin or giving you more tunnel vision as Leo. And Gemini upright here at 214, which is Valentine's Day, the Divine Feminine and the Patient Angel, the higher love, home stable in a split, still living with lover or Gemini, or home needing clarity on their twin. So the underlying energy here at 214, or Valentine's Day, which recently passed, is the peacock, the oyster, the cosmic egg, and the turtle. After the little birdie sings and the tiger stalks, the peacock is not expecting them, and the oyster with their feelers out, as the egg is about to crack open to crown the collective awakening on the ground running, as the turtles in the dark waving others around, or crossing guard who's blind as a bat, slow, having to feel their way through instead of being able to see it at 217. So at 218, the feminine again, and the stars, and then the moon now, is reflecting swans as the Knight of Cups finding their way to the center of the wound, the event, the accident, magnetizing force as the hyena slithers away from the scene of an accident, etc., at mid-noon, or still undecided, sitting on the fence, or came and went, or came together in love, but slow, still healing a wound, as the turtle and hyena part to make way for the swan event. With 2, 2, and 1 cards here at the end, the cheetah about to pounce on hyena, or just magnetized or mesmerized by the event, as the sea serpent chases its tail in sacral waters of cats and dogs. And what is a hyena anyway? The humming is like the cats looking at the hyenas. Is that a cat or a dog? The hummingbird clears the air with hue, right, the colors of hue, as Mr. Ed, or Source, hides, not wanting credit, when the octopus with hive mind chimes in. The overactive not knowing what the 8 hands are doing with their own minds, or mass confusion with Mr. Ed behind it all, or Source behind it all, whispering sweet nothings to trigger people to get their wounds, once and for all out in the open at 228, the Divine Feminine and the Twin Flames, or the 2 twin flames. So that was the end of that one. And that's when yesterday I did a lot of physical work. I swept the deck, I cleaned out the old potters in the back, I planted some new plants that were waiting since the fall, and I raked in the backyard too. Did a lot of physical work yesterday, which felt really good, to clean all that up. And then that's when I watched Elena yesterday. So again, just I wrote some notes on that because she kept what she was saying kept aligning with things that came up for me. She talked about Sirius A being very bright, like she couldn't see it because it was too bright, and then went to Sirius B, which is the dwarf planet, which was better. And that's where she mentioned Morga in the system. And Ava and Morgan both came up, which is a reference to the divine feminine and the grandmother energy of our heritage. And again, where she talked about our towers are straight up and down, but the towers there are more conical. They're very heavy based on the bottom, more like a curved pyramid. And again, like the twin temple towers that I showed you with lots of bridges, not the structured up and down towers. She also talked about the many domes and that there was not much light at all on Sirius B. It was more like twilight, not even full night. And there was no night at all on Sirius A. But she talked about them enjoying their new freedom in their system. So again, Elena Denon, so you can check out that video. And then here's my third message of the day, was from today, very significant today as well. And the Buddha came up very strongly today, which Buddha doesn't come up very often for me, but came up very strongly here. And today is the 31st of the Five of Wands, which is the waving flames. It's also that energy of conflict, competition, but also games and plays and having fun, sports and that kind of stuff, the pursuit of happiness. So the day adds up to 41 today, which is the Ace of Cups, but also is a 5. So we have the Five of Wands, the group energy there, which can always cause conflict because no two people are the same. And then the love here of the Holy Grail. And again, that could be like a sports competition too, right? And winning a cup, the nationals and all sorts of, big competitions are cups. So we have today's message of the day was from 8:58 to 9:02, going from the Four of Cups and Five of Cups to the 0 point of the double zeros of Source really backing up the Hermit, and then the 1 and 2 of the Magician and the High Priestess or Higher Self. The cards at the end of this read came up as 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, very significant, and then 1, 4, 2, 3, 7, and I'll show you the picture of this read. So this is read number 3, and this one starts out with the Journey of Love on top, and then that's the Good Tarot, and then this Shaman Dreams, and then the mixed Lenormand, Reverie, and Kipper, and then the bottom is my half deck of Rider-Waite. So I'm going to just bring them in so you can see them better. Again, that second deck is the Good Tarot. Okay, so this is the third read. So that 1, 2, 2, 2, 1 was coming up as very significant because it's like room 222, which, I'm dating myself, but for those of you who get that, it's a guidance counselor show. And also referencing the 3 2s, which 2 is the feminine, the higher self, the polarity and the mediation. And then 22 is the Fool with an open heart taking that leap, and the 5D station basically. And that 4 energy of stability. But the power numbers, 11, 22, 33, and 44, are about putting that much more into it, but getting that much more in return. And then 3 2s is the 6, of course, of love, family, and community. And the bookends on either side. So it's coming up as Saggy, Angel, Patient, and the King of Wands being key, or that boomerang. And again, the bookends around 222, room 222. The room where the book ends. And then 12, 2, 21, right? That's 1, 2, 2, 2, 1 is also 12, 2, 21. With the Q, because 2 is also Q, between, of 3 Qs or keys, hers to be wise and whole, as in keys, and his is to be patient. Where the 3 Qs, and then the boomerang is like the 7, or the old way of writing gamma is like a 7, but more rounded, of course, like a boomerang. But the Q's and K's were coming up, where if you separate K, because the line of the K is actually an arc, along with the 2 other lines becoming an arc. So it's like the toroidal field. So the K becomes like a toroidal field, and the Q, of course, is conception. And so the Q is the quantum leap, and is also coming up as Q, okay? And then K, like okay, it's Q. The Q is very significant there. The pillars are bookends of guidance and love, where the Q then separates into 3 zeros and then 3 curved lines, which when you put those 3 lines together, they become the W. So it becomes 3 O's and a W, which is ooh, 2 U's with an angle. The Magician of Divine Masson, or that leap of faith, and the 2 of Cups to the 37, which is the King of Wands and unconditional love, but also the 3 keys. The tree keys, C-H-E-Z, which is home in French, but it also can be pronounced keys. So the 3 keys are the tree keys, or the tree house, which is also tricky, which then brings up Bellatrix and Beetlejuice. And then I was just getting step into my office as Sagittarius and Cancer, High Priestess and Empress, and Pisces times 2 in room 222. So that could be families going into guidance. And then Pisces coming up as Pi and C's, which this little drawing came up from the Pi and C's of the 2 pies, and under with this on the C's, the rough C's. And of course the 2 pies look like eyes that see 2 ways, sharing equally. At 921, the Hermit and the World. The 23 is the King of Wands across the water. And then the 10 of water, or cups, which is a picture of Buddha with his the laughing Buddha, though, which isn't really Buddha, but the big-bellied Buddha who's happy and laughing. And the 39 of Metox. The 35 of the 9 of Swords and the Anchor, and the King of Cups. So the King of Wands, and again representing 2023, across the waters from She in the Cyclone to the center, which is the throne, where Cyclone is the cycle of 1 and throne is the high road of 1. So the cycle of 1 is the cyclone as they get into the vortex, which is then the throne. The cyclone spins and spits or throws, which the past tense is then thrown. So we go from from the cyclone being thrown into the throne in the vortex. The cycle 1 throne of vortex, the high road of 1, allowing 1 cycle before the leap, as opposed to spiraling over and over again or looping. The 10 of Cups is coming up as the archangels, and again the two Buddhist towers together. The 2 holding hands. The jolly Buddha, ha ha ha, perhaps with Santa Claus here, or is that the Dalai Lama? Sitting on the dam in the mud. So imagine big Buddha sitting at the top of a waterfall, causing the dam, as he's sitting there smiling, and he slows the water from falling like a dam. And he's also the delta as 2 rivers come together. So Buddha's sitting on the dam, which is also very shallow water, which is mud, which is very conductive. So, and Elena talks about that too, about, her Pleiadian connections, talking about mud is the best conductor for us to sit in mud if we want to try to turn a light bulb on while we meditate, right? By holding a light bulb, that you can do this. So sitting on the dam or in the mud in low water, enjoying himself in the delta dawn or before the waterfall, with lotuses all around. Wherever he goes, they follow. After She, now able to stand at the bottom of the falls, unaffected like in the cyclone, not realizing that he's damming it up for her, so it's not so crushing upon her. The bookends as the falls are rushing, and that can be a reference to Russian bridge to the other side. So the falls are another way of bridging. 2 Buddhas damming on 2 sides of Niagara, the U.S. and Canada, or in other words, the parting of their seas. so that you can see the fall. And again, the channeling of parting the seas. The 39 of the Knight of Cups taking a bath in full headdress. The Buddhists and the Aborigines sitting in water enjoying themselves. Buddha with the 10 of Cups family with the archangels and the Buddhist temples. The archangels and Buddhist temples with sky bridges like Elena described on Sirius B. Very high bridges across from tower to tower. And the Knight of Cups, natives or aborigines of this 10 of Cups family, like the lineage of the Sirians here. So we're talking about Sirian lineages and Pleiadian lineages here. And perhaps coming from both, the masculine and the feminines coming together. And for me, I'm Sirian lineage. I mean, I've been everywhere, but Sirian is my main lineage point, and I believe my twin is Pleiadian. So there's this energy of like the different Jesus and Mary Magdalene lines coming together in that same way. The 35 of the Wounded Warrior and the 9 of Swords suffering in silence, or perhaps it's a sister, maybe not sleeping or stressed, cutting anchor with deep ocean and rough waves, no longer to be lost at sea. And again, that drowning wound. The King of Cups able to be an island to themselves. And remember, Atlantis just means islands. They were all Atlantis, all the different islands that made up Atlantis. The King of Cups able to be an island to themselves. He's no longer going to be lost at sea. He is an island unto himself, like on a platform in the middle of the sea, and become without becoming destabilized. He's now in the King of Wands energy, or the King of Cups energy, rather. The King of Wands comes up here with the 10 of Cups, Knight of Cups, the Wounded Warrior, and the King of Cups here, where the King of Cups son, whether he's the son as in father and son, or the son as in Christ, the Wounded Warrior pulling up anchor in the fire energy to be the King of Cups after the Knight of Cups cleans up a bit to become the King. And unconditional love. And not destabilized by certain emotions of the ocean. So at 9:38 of the Hermit and the Queen of Cups, then going into the Mary Magdalene energy, the underlying energy of 42 and the blood dance of the heart and the rush, the 34 of the becoming and energetic exchange and arrows of love, and the 50 of the archangels, those of your ultimate family, the 10 of Cups and the cloak of your etheric family, of the 12 of the hanging man, wise in self-initiation, where he is wearing the cloak and she in the cyclone and throne at the same time. The journey of love of the 15 as the mother prays in the shadows for you to live your life unafraid, with no need to be perfect. After all, there's shadows at play and no night at all, Sirius A, with little on Sirius B. The 62 here, right, and again, not to take yourself so seriously. The 62 of the choice to feel imprisoned or free, to allow the lesson without the fear of it holding you back. The 14 of the falling angel, that's light as a feather. The fallen angel is you as human when you started this journey as a human, as the Wounded Warrior, stripped and literally scalped in child's pose. You already were the Wounded Warrior from all your lives as elements, stones, and plants and animals mostly. At 9:47 is the Hermit and the 7 of Cups, where the King of Wands, 23, is across the waters, healing now your skin and all within with cool, cool rain. Roger that. So the first card out here is the 1 of the heart fire that bursts through the rose, the Christ golden white light budding from the spirals intertwined, creating a vortex to channel light and love. She waits in her heart without losing touch of the 4th finger to the 4th chakra heart, raised to the 8th degree, the high heart. After all, 4 and 8 are 12, in the wisdom of it all, grounding you to the earth and Mother Nature, not just the core. For what is the center without something to be the center of or off? At 9:52, the Hermit and the Queen of Swords now from the Queen of Cups, going into her air energy. The bulb without the plant or flower, right? What's its worth without its beauty seen? Its beauty developed, like a developing photograph. The 68 of the Page of Pentacles, student of life, being called to drop into your heart, to play with your opposite spin cycle. With the 67 Knight of Pentacles, the Swan, unafraid to act, and slow and sure, humble and loyal servant of focus, which focus is folk, like us. Easy breezy cover girl and American gigolo, the stars of your own show, as he comes into your heart. When the student is ready, the teacher will come, sometimes very young. With one card at the end, the 24, and the spaces between the words, where one leap is all it takes, Omega, to illuminate. Innate, unforgettable. And then it reminded me, so that's when I put unforgettable on to remind me of the lyrics, the one with Nat King Cole and Natalie Cole together. And it made me cry right away as soon as I listened to it. And I remembered that my second cousin, who I rarely see, because he never lived in the same area as me, when I was young, there was one time when we were together that we sang Unforgettable together. And it was beautiful. And he's a director, actor, all that kind of stuff. So that was coming up. And again, my past life with my second cousin was he was the emperor of the Tang dynasty, and I was one of his many wives. And that came up many years ago, like 20 or 30 years ago, or even longer. But anyway, Nat King Cole and That's What You Are coming up. And the lyrics were coming up, like a song of love that clings to me. How the thought of you does things to me. And the never before has someone been more. 24 is 2 and 4, the spaces between the words. 2 and 4 you, 2 yous for us. What fun is the end when you can enjoy the journey between bookends. At 10:06, which 10 is the Wheel of Fortune. Excuse me for just 1 second. Jenna, Luz is coming up to the door. Can you get it? I don't want to be rude to her. Sorry about that. My neighbor's coming up to my door and my daughter. 10:06. It's going to be about half an hour before I'm done my video. I can't turn it off. Okay. At 10:06 is the Wheel of Fortune and the 6 of the Lovers, and the underlying energy of the 5 and the Fire, or reddish hair in her garden of despair, or the Pair. Hey Luz, I can come down to see you if you want. I just have to finish my video. Sorry about that, guys. So again, thank you, Jenna. So the underlying energy of the 5 of Fire, or reddish hair in her garden of despair, which despair is also the Pair, of 2, the Q, where she is the vortex and he is the quantum leap, knowing she is always there. The Moon, the daughter, Eve and Mary's lineage, Sophie, so there's that reference of Sophia as well, and the 18 of Chi, the CH of AI. And notice chain is also Chi with the N on the end, which is, for me, code for Jesus. The CH of Kosh and the hyperbolic cosine, the channel, the chain, the chapter, and the I of I am. EA and each, and the HP of horsepower, and Mr. Ed. With the 4th, 16th, and 28th letters here. 2 sine waves weaving a chain, a channel. The I am, the EA, the Mr. Ed, for hanging, those hanging like a hard left, to leap, to arc, to bridge to the other side. The whispering bench, the Christ consciousness. And I kept getting this C with a dead end to the left, like a hard left to the whispering bench. At 10:14, which is the wheel, and the 14 of the temperance card of that higher love and patience and balance. The purple moon in June, Perhaps the 4th and 5th and 6th, which were the 3 cards that came up next. After 6-3, which is my father's birth. And then all of the full moons came up again, so you might want to check out the full moons. And then in July, 1138 came up as the time, which is the Mary Magdalene energy. It's on 7-3. And that's the buck full moon. As the fairy dust stars are thrown on the 4 of the Emperor Lion here, with Christmas in July attitude, as Leo, as the lion, would have it, the 5 of the Hierophant, which comes up as the bull on the mantle, with elements and wings, or magician's trophy hung on display, the 6 of the lover, of the lion and she, or twins, and Cancer, Aries, Taurus, and Gemini here, to the 12 of the hanging man, and Pisces or Capricorn, and that 10 of Cups, Archangel family, all hanging out together. After church and state make peace with lion and lioness at the gate on break, or 2 from different worlds who fall in love, to break boundaries, the bridges from within. The hanging man upside down for another perspective, but jolly Buddha gives a damn in the delta dawn of Aquarius, in the emotion of laughter. So at 10:27, the Wheel of Fortune and Destiny, and the 27 of the Ace of Wands and New Passion and the Flame, we're remembering the Buddha's talking about not taking yourself so seriously, as the 7 of Air, as she having 2 wings. She's hanging out here with the birds, but also she has wings. She's wanting to fit in, but she's a human, not a bird. But she's angelic, so she has wings, and she's confused about that. Taking a risk as Buddha to slow things down a bit on the waterfront. The King of Fire with more Asian tones, or the Dalai Lama, who was born July 6, 1935, which references the United States birthday, because actually I've heard talk that July 6th was the actual birthday of the U.S., not the 4th, or vice versa. But there's something between both dates regarding the birthday of the United States. And then 1935 is referencing the Wounded Warrior, the 9 of Wands. His name is Gyalwa. I'm probably not saying it correctly. And then Rinpoche. So he's a Cancer man, aligned with the U.S.'s birthday, with Leo tones in his heart, and the 5 of Waters, or 5 of Cups, purging the pearl-threaded, his divine feminine, with snail and little seahorse in tow, as Buddha chuckles for what's to come in the age of the divine feminine. And feminine was then being broken down into iron, of Fe, and then the Ni at the end is Any, and then mini in between. So it's coming up as a mini irony, and that's coming up as the Dalai Lama's reference to his thoughts about perhaps having a woman as the next Dalai Lama, because they're planning on picking it in a different way than they would normally, that he could pick the next Dalai Lama. So then the cards at the end here at 10:36 was the Chariot reversed, number 7, and the 6 of Fire and flying ships. As the Chariot breaks down, of she riding 2 horses, brown and white, oriented towards China, and hot air rising, as Cancer falls to rise again even higher, with Fire and Isis leading the way through space and the ethers. So his dust, or stardust, and Hindustan was coming up, and her dust was coming up as Herdaste, Herdaste, which means to inherit. So his dust, or stardust, his star, which fairy dust is supposed to be just dust from the star you're from, but his dust, or that word, Hindustan, was the first thing that came up, which is India. And her dust comes up as to inherit it, with 9 air. So here she's inheriting India, because isn't the Dalai Lama in India, not China now. And the 9 of air with the 3 of waters came up. She with wings and he with tail. One with birds. So this is actually two women, she with wings and she with tail. One with birds and one with shells and pearls, which came up recently as things they used to trade, not money. With calming thoughts to level the playing field to come together. Birds circling, the mermaid posing, or both in the running for the Dalai Lama, or sisters a-coming. And that can reference Catholic sisters as well. So 246 to 47, which is the Six of Cups of the children in their innocence and seeing synchronicities, the underlying energy of the horseman who heralds in the change, the Knight of Wands kind of energy here, with the 30 of the union, the home, and the cloaked King of Wands, who gets she to bring it home. The 20 in the Feast of Plenty, of 2 and 1, and the choices and their consequences, of 2 swords with crystal interference between, and the wake-up call to what you share, what you take in. The 8 of crown games and the right use of power, and taking the crown out of the equation here, with the union wake-up call to dance, the 14 of the drifter experiencing life as it comes in the English Channel. So again, that channeled effect, again, like in a water, in like a closed tunnel between UK and France. England and France and US and Canada. Again, the French and the English coming together here. And recently an article came up. I looked to see what came up regarding the English Channel, and it was just that the ferry was canceled, a few of the ferry rides, due to poor weather. With 38 knots and gusts of 52, which is the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Swords in New Haven, which is really funny because that came up as my daughter and her friend, which are Queen of Cups and Queen of Swords in their signs, who came up today. And then the 31 of 1054, which is that energy again of Gemini, referencing that Queen of Swords. And the 10, which also can be, for me, Libra energy. But the destined energy of the Page of Swords and the 31 here of that chaos and the ways of flames in the hand, the universe as your partner, with the 39 of the Knight of Cups, the shaman energy. So again, bringing in the archangels, the different lineages, right? The Pleiadians versus the Aborigines, like doing different missions, right? So some doing like the twins, splitting at the beginning and then living all these earth lives until culmination of coming back together again, where others maybe, on Pleiades and then coming in as a Pleiadian to help out with the ascension. But here's coming up about the archangels or the Pleiadians and then the Aborigines in a metox, repairing the mind, body, and spirit here as the Knight of Wands chills out in water. So again, figuring out how the fire will mix with water. So the 1 of the 32 in the jeweled web and the Xmas light connect. All right, so there's a reference to Christmas, but is it really the Xmas? Because the X is the feminine, but also is also the 2 crazy 8s dancing together. So they're actually chromosomes, right? So the Xmas light connect in the Knight of Cups journey through the heart fire and how fire and water can mix. The 56 of the wall and obstacles and projecting from within, and an audience with their backs faced towards the light, the source, the projector. Where then Enigma came in. With 39, 32, 56, and 38, the Knight of Cups, journey to self with the Queen of Cups, with the many masks of authentic self, at 11:11, where 2 cards came up, 50 and 24, which again is the archangels and that 10 of Cups family, with the Queen of Wands of Omega and the Pleiades. And the 10 of Cups, Queen of Wands family of the Pleiades, the spirit of the river, the movement to adventure, the galactic mushroom and coconut head, peeling back the layers of the matrix here, the one equal and congruent to the other, the divine matrix, to reveal the seed, or again, seed is something that has been seen already, the core, the ancient one, or the Knight of Cups and the Queen of Cups and the family of Omega, the Queen of Wands and or Pleiades. At 11:16 of Justice and the Tower, the underlying energy of the 24 and the Queen of Wands. The Knight of Wands prior to this, 25, with high honors, and the Power Lady present to the truth after loving man makes changes and hermiting for the 24 Queen of Wands and the Page of Cups, Swans, with the King of Wands, 23, standing up for himself, cleaning up the house in 23, for romance in 24, as the Queen of Wands and Knight of Wands wake up call to housing, imprisonment in gated community or the big house, the official house, or it's reminding me of Orca the way I wrote it. I mean, it's talking about the Psycho house, but it's like the Orca, right? The whale house, which is the sea. And again, that energy of Poseidon's castle at the bottom of the sea, and now that the arcs are at the bottom of the sea, and Ea lived at the bottom of the sea, right? So there's all this energies about how it was normal for us to be able to live under the earth at the bottom of the sea. And again, the whale and our connection and what high vibrational beings they actually are. In the 8 dance with false person, or the masked tango between the man and a woman. The 11 of aligning with the Page of Pentacles, cracking the whip with rod and staff. And the Justice of the Page of Cups and the Page of Pentacles, and the wounded warrior pulling up anchor to let the storm pass, or temporary separation that's planned. At 11:22 of Justice and the Fool, and that open heart and leap of faith. Where the first card here is the 27 of unexpected income or incoming, which that's funny because my friend came to the door, or in a change of hands, the queen, the penny, the copper, the rich man, poor man, and giving to charity. As the wounded warrior is inspired with 32 and 30 and the journey home, the romantic journey within mid-moon to mature, peaceful, spiritual union with or as the King of Swords for the suffering in silence or sister or stress. To come to a beautiful place. Or Cancer or romance in mind here, after inheritance or payout came in. At 11:27, again, that Ace of Wands and the Flame, with the 39 in the Knight of Cups community, with the 33 of the Christ vibration, free from the cage or getting out of jail free card, with wise group of birds or freeing bird from the cage and getting bird feeder instead. Could be retirement here, as child takes over family business, or the Knight of Cups Christ hanging man hanging out at Easter, rising to eat with the birds, or in nature, or naturally. And I'm getting the song, naturally. So there's Saggy and Cancer and Pisces here, perhaps Libra as well. And again, there's that energy of the Garden of Gethsemane where Christ is eating with all of the men, and perhaps Mary Magdalene, but here he's eating with all the women. And again, there's that reference of the Dalai Lama choosing a new woman as well. So at 11:31, the 2 of Cups and the Knight of Cups and the King of Wands, perhaps the 2 partnering up, as the Knight of Pentacles offers to help with a move or travel with the Page of Swords, who may be really happy to do this. The Page of Wands may be excited by the Queen of Pentacles, Capricorn, or the Queen of Pentacles is temptation, waving soulmates or old friends, siblings, chums, kids, or Capricorn and Scorpio, or codependent with Dark Night, or unnatural death or end or nightmares, and getting counsel here or advice, perhaps from the Hermit, or Dark Night or Scorpio, who walked right over them or stomped on them, and is going to the Hermit for advice to shed light, or the ghost of Christmas past comes in. So some people might be having nightmares here. At 11:36, as the wounded warrior may be mad at the Hermit for helping them, and the wounded warrior may be guarding the 9 of Pentacles sovereign and the Empress, which could be mother and child, until the King of Swords is free to be with them. And like Teddy always comes up as the King of Wands, so he could be sitting at the window now. He's guarding us. So the King of Swords is receiving the Knight of Wands and the Page of Cups, perhaps sent by the Emperor or Aries Queen of Wands, or kids to the King of Swords so that the Queen of Wands could be free with the Empress and Sovereign. After the Queen of Wands, perhaps the wounded warrior was irritated with the Hermit or Dark Knight connecting, or Virgo and Scorpio both understanding the plight of others, or mad at the doctor for not fixing their suffering or stress or sleeplessness. As the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Swords are trying to speak to the King of Cups, but the High Priestess or his assistant may be in the way, or keeping his secrets, or just keeping quiet. Or the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Swords are speaking to Pisces, King of Cups, who may not be listening, or the happy couple with their own beliefs who are just being polite. At 11:44 of Justice and Hercules, or grounding, integrating, and mastering how to receive love in alignment, as the lock opens, the first card here is the Magician manifesting choices, or the King of Cups manifesting the Queen of Cups, coming to him with options, or an offer of a partnership, or twins coming into Magician embodiment, or Gemini between the King of Cups and Queen of Wands, and the Queen of Cups giving an ultimatum, perhaps. And at the end here is the Knight of Swords, backing up the Queen of Cups, or while the King of Cups focuses or faces the Queen of Cups, the Knight of Swords rushes in, Gabriel or Mercury, divine lovers or Gemini, who insist they are just trying to help the Queen of Cups and has their back. Or the King of Cups initially wouldn't take the Queen of Cups' offers, and afterwards they ran back because they changed their mind. The lovers of those of affection here, lovers or those of affection, the King of Pentacles and Page of Pentacles, and Justice of coming full circle to offer love as the Knight of Cups. And here may be Gemini or Virgo, Libra and Pisces are divine feminine here, and also water and earth signs. The lover King of Pentacles sends an invitation or thank you or opportunity for justice of the world, Libra and world, divine feminine or Pisces, offering love, while the King of Pentacles also sent the Knight of Swords or Gemini back to the Queen of Cups to get the girl so he could offer her love or propose, or the King of Cups and Queen of Cups being loved together after Gemini tried to get in between them at 12 noon on the dot. High noon, double zeros are source energy coming in to support the hanging man. So there you go for that. Now we're going to go back to the read on the table. That'll be the final read at 2:52. It's 2:07 on this clock, on the timer. Let's get back to that read. All right, so this was done last night, the 7-deck read on the table. For those of you not familiar, we have Romance Angels, the Rider-Waite. This is the Tarot Sexual Magic. We have the Universal Gold in there. We have the Gilded Tarot back there, and the Numerology deck back there. And the main deck is the big cards, which is the SIRIAN Starseed deck. So the deck was cut at 7:07, and at 7:17, even of crystals came up. And crystals can be crystals, but also as being like Christ. So the evenness of this. And again, one being equal and congruent to the other, sharing equally at 7:17. At 7:32, I finished clarifying, which is the Chariot and the Journey. And the major arcana came up here, the Star, the Chariot, and the solar deity, the Sun. And before the read was Reflection and Abundance, which reflection is the Hermit and abundance is the Empress. And then afterward, I did put a few extra cards out because I didn't put all the after cards that I usually put up there. And these are the cards that came up afterward. So we do have the Emperor here and the Empress in the underlying energies. So they're kind of bookends here. So here's that 10 of Pentacles, which was very significant in the read. The 4 of Cups, and then the Emperor, and then the Page of Wands, rather, and then the King of Pentacles came up at the end. This is kind of like a family get-together there. So we had double wands. The Knight of Wands is the only court card in the read. And we had 2 cups, 2 swords, 3 wands, and 1 pentacle. So 22 and 31 came up, which is the Fool, and then the 5 of Wands, the group. And that could be the Aries leading the way as well as the Fool, right? With an open heart, taking a leap of faith, leading the 5 group, which comes up in the end. So the next card after that, King of Pentacles, was the 6 of Wands, which is literally 1 wand leading 5 others. So that comes up significantly as well. We had double 1s, double 5s, and double 10s here. So again, the bookends very significant with the 10s and 1s, and the 5 in the middle, double 5s. So the center and the polarities. And then we had 4, 5, 6, 7, made in heaven. And 14, which is the Temperance. 45 is the 5 of Cups. 56 is the 2 of Swords. And then 5, 10 is 0 backing up the 51 of the King of Swords. And then 7, 8, which is the 10 of Pentacles. And then 8, 10, which is 0 backing up the 81, which for me is the end of karma around the world. The code line here was all about relationship change. And the number 22, which came from 10, 6, 5, and 1. The code line messages came up as so. As the editor-in-chief, or earned income credit. And Satan came up here as the foe, and the lover's office, of course, and making a hard left at the whispering bench, as the 5 of Swords, which is the inner war, is so victorious in the holy place of offering in the now moment regarding the relationship change. A Czech essay, which was funny because one of the doctors I know is Czech, and he's the one, he always gives me articles to take home with me, so it's just a plug to him. A Czech essay, or a Czech, this could be keeping someone in check as well, to say, regarding a high vibe destiny for the lovers or the emperor lovers of hard lefts or hard knocks was coming up, to make a hard left to the cul-de-sac or the whispering bench. The 5 of Swords, so alternating currents of Eve, or acing the creation or birth. As the editor-in-chief, which is like Satan butting in right here, right? Because it's like the AI of chiefs, right? As the editor-in-chief, Satan, or the emperor of hard knocks, loves to change course without notice. The 5 of Swords, infection, is so back and forth in the one equal and congruent to creation, the holy place of offering. So again, matching dark and light. Wanting the tiger lioness ship to fall as opposed to win, right? So a southern bridge, say 10-4, and which is message received, the lovers of hard lefts or hard knocks to the dead end at Christ or unity consciousness. The inner war, so that one creates. The Tyon, which is the tiger lioness, ship swaddled. So again, here's like the light energy swaddling the masculine and the feminine so the dark can't get to them. Okay? Like the swaddling would be their baby. You're their baby. So at 8:33, which is the dance of the Christ consciousness and Easter coming up, is the Hermit and the Empress, or Virgo and Taurus, and the offer of the Page of Swords, or payoff message, to walk away and within, to drop burdens and responsibilities, of the Queen of Cups reversed and the 10 of Cups reversed, unhappy family, or reflecting mother, or hermiting abundant offer in a breakthrough, or stone-breaking plant, of the Page of Swords, leaving and dropping their burdens behind them, and perhaps leaving behind the Queen of Cups reversed and the 10 of Cups, who looks like someone of water energy, or just someone who's very much in their unhappiness. This can be breaking a cycle as well, right? Because it could be letting go of an emotional cycle that no longer serves you and it's way overdue to be done. So it's like finally ending that cycle, that emotional cycle of dysfunction, where the 10 of Cups reversed, or dumping 10 options and going to 7, or after dreaming of 7, or seeing synchronicities, and the Emperor annoyed by the wounded warrior's surrender, or that victim mentality, and released to everything that glitters, right? The Emperor can't understand someone like that. Or had 7 options and lost 10 by the time the Emperor was through with them. And again, this could be somebody gambling or spending too much. The Queen of Cups reversed may be Pisces or Divine Feminine coming full circle. Post-war heated exchange or no exchange at all, with the Ten of Cups reversed, family, and the Knight of Pentacles reversed, who's blocking them from the Empress, who's upright, perhaps blocking them from swallowing their pride with the Empress, right, by feeding them information or just literally being stubborn and not letting them see them. The Emperor's upright, or this could be poor judgment between them or no calls at all. With the Emperor upright in bliss with the Queen of Wands reversed, or the other woman, taking a gamble to catch one, or just gambling in general, or gambling their life away. With the gates of hell open for the Queen of Wands reversed, and the black cat having nightmares, or snakes, or nightmares of snakes and dragons. So at 9:02 is the Hermit and the Divine Feminine or Higher Self, or the two, or the Emperor took a gamble and lost. The Ten of Cups reversed, family blocking the Queen of Cups reversed with delays until the final judgment between the Empress and Emperor or decision is made. The Eight of Wands reversed in a heated exchange, dumping a load, and the King of Cups upright performing by giving love to distract the others from their problems as he floats away, as that ship is now sailing. Getting to know each other, and below that was unrequited love. And the Nine of Swords nightmare, or sex room, or porn, as the Page of Wands reverses frustrated with the Hermit missing their flame, and the Seven of Cups fantasizing, or cheated and got caught with their pants down, after leg went gray. The Turtle is slow to romance, as he imagines girls with other guys, confessing only after getting caught. And then health came up here as very significant with the 71, which is the Three of Pentacles. And for me, that's co-creation. And beneath that was creativity of the Three of Abundance, or the Empress, or Mother. And maybe the health care was the masculine energy, and then the Mother energy was the feminine energy that had the creative energy on a business, perhaps, or work. So Star trips up or falls, lacks faith, as the sovereign offers a new life or pays for divorce, or doing too much for and showing the inequity in a struggle to escape their chains to their destiny. The sunny side and exposed beams in the ceiling, or trip down memory lane or the stairs was destined to happen. The injustice of getting all caught up in chains or spokes, as the sun icon or throwing stars marking every room. With Aquarius upright and Aries reversed, with Libra both upright and reversed, perhaps indecisive there, and Capricorn or Pisces upright as well. The destiny of the Ten of Cups reversed to end an emotional cycle that's way overdue, to see synchronicities and take a shot to dance, perform, juggle, or do the daily grind, to end burdens and responsibilities, or taking a load off for health reasons. The underlying energy here is at 9:34. The Hermit and the energetic exchange, or hours of love, or just lots of energy back and forth, of the Emperor in disconnect or at a distance, sailing away to find peace, as the I couldn't get that out at all. So the Emperor in disconnect or at a distance, and remember he's upright, is sailing away to find peace, as I could not get that out of my mouth. As the Knight of Cups loves spending the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community money, or dealing with their dysfunction, or sending condolences for a loss, but I can't be there, so sort of thing. Detoxing after death or exhaustion, near death with secret passion, telling the truth to the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community, or upside down Capricorn, Scorpio, and Pisces, or Divine Feminine, tell the truth to the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community. Can you hear Teddy? He's having a little nightmare. He just woke up when I said that. You're so cute, Teddy. You were having a nightmare. So there's definitely nightmares going on. Or upside down Capricorn, Scorpio, Pisces, Divine Feminine, telling the truth to the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community. But the Emperor couldn't be there. So the recent past here is the Chariot boldly moving or traveling, and the Empress perhaps in a divorce, the Page of Wands reversed frustrated or immature, exposing all, or with unhappy kids, or the Empress breaking a contract, or spiritually outside the box, and uninspired by kids or to be in the sun or get attention, with no peace, after a sudden event or constant drama, and lovers left out in the cold, and I was just getting that hard left. Or perhaps they were turned away, not good enough for the family. As the Seven of Pentacles is reaping rewards, conflicted by justice or fighting for it, or Libra, or no movement in a fight for divorce, or dealing or feeling unworthy and not worth enough. The foundation is the Knight of Wands reversed, player, or one who fell short, or is paralyzed by their passions, triumphing over the inequity without options, and destined to get over loss, regret, and heal. At 9:59, which is the Hermit and the War Within, the central energy is the Star reversed, which can be arrogance, but more likely depression, and feeling unworthy and rejected, vulnerable and distant, and looking back, or living in the past with no peace. Challenged by the Five of Swords, Frog stretching to be the Prince, Sovereign, and the Queen of Swords with good news. At work, at 10:06, and destined lovers. And the Queen of Wands reversed, starting over with the Six of Cups soulmate perhaps, or an old friend. And that's when there was a blue jay in our front tree this morning when I was talking to Jenna, and her nickname could be Blue Jay, so it's really funny that it always comes when I'm talking to her. And when I was outside in the back this morning, the cardinal, that was yesterday, and then today the cardinals showed up in the back. So, and there's this reference in the back of the bus, like the cardinals were in the back of the bus and the blue jays were in the front of the bus. So not coming together, no joy and release, with the King of Wands upright, happy with themselves as fallen angel, losing patience and disconnect or at a distance, not seeing eye to eye and getting over it and back to daily life. So now crowning here is the Five of Wands. There's that Five of Wands and the waves of flames. Conflicted and defenseless to coming clean about jealousy or rejection or emotional loss. The Lovers and the King of Swords reversed, who may have been cut off or exhausted, trying to make it work, depressed and antisocial. The Four of Cups, and that can be over social too, like drinking too much. And the Four of Cups reversed, starting over with an offer to the Three of Pentacles workplace, with the King of Wands and Sovereign losing patience and pushed to their emotional limit, or dumped, destined to justice and bliss, as the Knight of Cups reversed is not sleeping and hanging out, unable to move, with the King of Pentacles reversed, with the King of Swords without peace and blocked, or being stubborn and unable to work, losing patience and not seeing eye to eye, getting over it and distracting the crowds again, doing the juggling act, or back to the same old. Soon here is the Sun, exposure or vacation, detoxing from keeping to oneself, or the Page of Pentacles reversed, or needing help to manifest, with the Chariot upright but weak at the same time, needing courage to fight and unable to sleep, not sharing their depression. Twin flames are being seen as the Four of Swords reversed, unable to rest, awakening after being free from the Queen of Cups reversed, in a move or a visit, or destabilizing, and actually getting destabilized, they're surprised because it made them happy. Offering a new life to self, or past Queen of Cups reversed, to walk away. So let go of control, express your love and retreat, and then chemistry and you deserve love all came up for the twins. And around the twins are how they're seen as the Six of Cups and the the Queen of Pentacles, her secret passion, and deceiving the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, and community about this soul tie connection. This could be a past life connection or twin. Around the twins are how they're seen as the Six of Cups upright, as those inner children, the Queen of Pentacles and the secret passion and deceiving that family. The block is the Ace of Wands reversed. Not being aroused, being uninspired, depressed, behind the Queen of Swords who's upright here, speaking her truth. And then the relationship change, and even more so is the rebirth, and they're both blue, by the way, and the third eye energy kind of there, throat to third eye. And the King of Cups with the Ace of Pentacles upright, like this unconditionally loving person offering a new life, as to the Seven of Pentacles, which in this deck is the Divine Feminine's heart in the E-Tower. Frustrated with lack of growth, so the Page of Swords is stepping up to cut it out, holding back an announcement or messaging instead of calling. The King of Swords is refusing to work or stubborn about overwork or overtime, facing their fears out in the world of the divine feminine or Pisces or lover or their affections for Hermit or Virgo, or ending an emotional cycle of keeping to themselves or keeping to self their insecurities or lack of tools, right? Not wanting to, again, swallow their ego. As the Knight of Swords rushing back in with the truth or with another delivery at 11:27 if someone's spending a lot. And then the Queen of Cups and Ten of Cups reversed, confused about the Knight of Wands reversed, who's home from break or the beach or unable to sleep, awakened to the Six of Cups connection, that past life connection, or the Queen of Pentacles secretly up early to avoid the Ten of Pentacles family, or keeping secret passion from the family, wanting new passion with the divine feminine's heart, who reaps rewards from that Ten of Pentacles family, starting over with the Emperor upright, the Page of Wands reversed, and the King of Pentacles reversed, or the Empress, who's the matriarch of the Ten of Pentacles, starting over with the Emperor, frustrated or uninspired by the King of Pentacles reversed, or the Emperor's uninspired by their grown kids who may be disappointing to him, perhaps he's wanting to retire when the Ten of Pentacles is expecting him to start again, or starting over again. Maybe the Emperor and the Empress were in a temporary separation, and they're trying to get them back together to keep all that money, intact for the whole family, not just for them who earns it. And again, that could be coming to the place, and this topic has been coming up a lot the past couple of days, of those who don't do the work don't get the money anymore. So people could be getting cut out. So at 11:36 is Justice with the 36 of Atlas, the Hermit and the Empress and the Diamond in the rough, as the Page of Swords walks away, dumping responsibilities on the Queen of Cups reversed and the Ten of Cups reversed, who may be moving or traveling, which is destined here, as the Knight of Wands may be depressed with the group and challenged to become the Prince, or to juggle 3 and save 2 for later, unable to sleep or stressed, suffering in silence or dealing with her sister, exposing all or taking vacation with the Six of Cups, uninspired but wanting new passion or flame, the divine masculine's heart, the divine feminine's heart, or retiring to a more moderate life at 11:42 of Justice alignment and the Two of Cups. And there are your messages at 2:27:07 on the clock. So all 2s and 7s, that's really cool. All right. So 02:27:07. So it was 22707, and then 007 was coming up there too. And James Bond's been coming up a lot lately. So just a quick energy card, because it's been long already. And I'm losing my voice, as you can see. And now I have to go visit my friend because she came to say hi. So it's 3:13 on my clock, the regular time clock. So there's that 1 of creation between the 2 3s, the 33 of the Christ vibration, and Easter coming up, I think it's the 9th.